Brian Angus and Together We Can.
Together we can. First, together we can do what? First, we all working towards the same thing. And so why shouldn't we work together? And you might be thinking, how are we all working towards the same thing? And what is that thing? Well, we're all working to get a better quality of your life for ourselves and for Annapolis. Some of us do this through the arts, some through Tai Chi, some through kayaking, some through education and making safer neighborhoods and the environment and working with youth. We at Community Action do it by working on poverty. We help people who struggle, those who struggle the most. So what does it mean to live in poverty? It means a daily struggle to secure the necessities for even a meager existence. It means that the abundance, the comforts, and the opportunities that people see all around them are beyond their grasp. Worst of all, it means hopelessness for the young men and women who grow up without a decent education, in a single-parent home, in a hostile and depressing environment, in ill health in the face of racial injustice, the young men and women who often feel trapped by a life of poverty. He or she does not have the skills demanded by this complex society, and they don't know how to acquire those skills. They face a mounting sense of despair, which drains initiative and ambition and energy. More than 28,000 people live in poverty in Anne Arundel County, enough to nearly fill the Naval Academy Stadium. It takes 120 school buses to hold all the children who live in poverty here in Anne Arundel County. These are our neighbors, and often these are our friends. So how do we address the causes and conditions of poverty? To begin with, we need to explore more deeply some of the many and varied dimensions of poverty, such as the fact that poverty is now, and has always been, worse among children and among single-family head of households. There are differences between people who are stuck in poverty chronically, for instance, the elderly and those with mental and physical health issues, and those who float in and out of poverty because of hard knocks and sometimes happen in life. There's unequal access to justice, to economic opportunities, and to the other benefits of our society that leads to increased levels of poverty within racial and ethnic groups. We need to further examine those relationships between poverty. For example, in health, poverty will cause people to have poor health, and being in poor health will cause a person to be in poverty. In education, again, the lack of education contributes to being in poverty, while living in poverty makes it much more difficult to get a good education. In economic development, people in poverty benefit most from economic development if the training and preparation for the jobs is there. And yet the concerns about poverty tend not to be involved in the planning for economic development issues. So we need to look at these distinctions and the interconnectedness between people and poverty and people and the poverty of communities. The people who live in a neighborhood facing the worst manifestations of poverty, such as drugs, decaying housing, and violence, will have a much harder time getting out of poverty than the same person who is poor and lives in a more safe and healthier neighborhood. Exploring this is the process we began a couple years ago in the Poverty Task Force. It is a process to produce the white paper on poverty in Anne Arundel County as a start to understanding the complex set of interconnected poverty issues and that require a coordinated and comprehensive approach on many levels. The very complexity of poverty requires that many people from different walks of life be involved in the process of tackling it. Creating a poverty reduction framework in this county is our next step. The framework will be the basis for coordinated and sustained effort to end poverty or reduce poverty. An effort seeking to reclaim the resolve that was first expressed by the United States in 1964 when it said it is therefore the policy of the United States to eliminate the paradox of poverty in the midst of plenty in this nation by opening to everyone the opportunity for education, training, the opportunity to work, and the opportunity to live in decency and dignity. Community discussions and planning will engage various sectors and be guided by the explicit goal of reducing poverty in the county. Together we can, and we invite you to join together in this effort. Together we can get the county to adopt a poverty reduction strategy as an explicit goal. And why should we or the county do this? Because it is an extension of our values. Efforts addressing poverty by faith communities, nonprofits, individuals, associations, neighborhood groups, governments at all levels of city, county, state, and federal levels are not a matter of imposing some other value on the broader society. Rather, these efforts put into practice the strongly and wildly held societal values for providing a hand up, not a handout, but a hand up to those among us who are struggling the most. This effort turns these existing and long-held values of our society into action. President Obama said, "Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are the change we seek." If you have been waiting, then today consider yourself asked to get involved. Join us and help others in whatever way you can. Be part of the effort to improve the quality of life here in Annapolis.